Today on HTF, we're trick-or-treating. We're talking World Series, navigating the tricky NFL trade deadline, and we'll give some treats to some of the best performers in the NFL's first half. This is Hitting the Field.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask. I just really hit the field. 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 Boy, I'm about to hit the field. Boy, I'm about to hit the field.
Wait.
Welcome to Hitting the Field. I am Jaret Kappelman, back in the host seat. And we're talking World Series today with 2 people making their season debut. On the left, we have the vet, Connow Dowd. Connor, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to talk some postseason baseball. And, jump right in. Exciting series so far.
And on my right, we have the rookie, Toole. Taylor, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm fantastic. I just love being here. It's going to be a great show.
I'm glad to hear it. Batting leadoff in today's show is the World Series. The Houston Astros are just a 1 win away from a second World Series title in 3 seasons. After trailing 2-0, the Astros rallied in D.C. this weekend, winning the last 3 games and outscoring the Nationals 19-3. Connor, how did the Astros pull this series back in their favor?
The Astros have been really good, dominant pitching so far. Jose Urquidy, Josh James, both big wins on the road in Washington, which has been huge for them. And the bats have come alive. Robinson Chilano, I think his name is. He has 2 home runs in games 3 and 4. That's just huge for the Astros so far. Chirino, excuse me. And they just have to keep rolling. The Astros, their bats have finally woken up. Games 1 and 2, they did not have it at all. And Washington has kind of let this series slip away so far.
Taylor, what's going on with the Nats? How did the Astros do this?
They got to get in there, and like they have been, the Astros had Cole. He's been an honorable mention, throwing them pitches, killing it, real fast. But for the Nationals, they need to play. They've been playing defensive. They need to get on that offense and get in there and really just smack it around, because that's what the key is right now if you want to, finish strong.
So going into Game 3, the Nationals were undefeated in their navy blue uniforms. This postseason, is that over? Should they switch up the uniforms now?
I think they have to change it up. It's time for a change. The Nationals, they really have to get something going. They're going back to Houston, which they took the first 2 games. They got Verlander, Strasburg. Strasburg already took the first game in Game 2, and so I think it'll be a good matchup, though. I'm excited. I want Washington to win this game. Everyone loves the Game 7. Best 2 words in sports.
So Taylor, about 3 hours before Game 5 last night, it was announced Max Scherzer would not be pitching. How big of an impact did that have last night?
Huge. Totally huge. That guy, that really gave them that hit. They took a hit there. They were instantly kaput. It was not their mode. They need to get in there, and they had to get somebody to try to pick it up, and it just didn't. They flopped. They could have bopped, but they flopped.
Because, Connor, we can argue Max Scherzer is one of the best pitchers in postseason. Yep. He's definitely the best pitcher on the Nationals. How big of a hit was that?
When you put in Joe Ross, a guy who has a 5 ERA throughout the season, compared to Max Scherzer, who is just dominant in the postseason and throughout just his whole career, basically. He's been one of the best pitchers in the game for the past couple seasons. It is a really big hit to Washington, and hopefully, if they do go to Game 7, he'll be able to pitch. His neck will be fine and stop spasming and stuff like that. But it'll be interesting to see if they get to Game 7, will he pitch?
Now, a huge swing in momentum yesterday was an 0-2 count to Carlos Correa on a borderline fastball that could have been called strike 3. It was not. 3 pitches later, Correa hits a 2-run bomb to take a 4-0 lead. Was that the end of the Nationals last night?
They got wrecked, I'll be real. They got real wrecked with that. My man Correa, I'll admit, there was a moment there, I was what's happening? But he pulled through. He really killed that. And, what else can you say? The Nationals took a hit.
Yeah. Connor, who's been the best player for the Astros in those last 3 games?
Honestly, I'd just say the pitching staff in general has been their best asset. Josh James, Jose Urquidy, they really big wins. The Nationals have 4 hits in the past 2 games. They really have to get back into the game. And Garrett Cole, I mean, let's be real, best pitcher in baseball. He's going to be the highest paid pitcher in baseball next season when he's a free agent, and it makes sense for whatever team that wants to win a World Series to pay that man and really go for the cup.
Well, the Astros have 2 chances to win the series at home. If they win, it'll be the first time since 1996 that a team has won the World Series after losing the first 2 games at home. For the Nationals, it would be an unfortunate collapse after an historic Cinderella run to the Fall Classic. Taylor, what does Washington need to do to avoid this?
You know, they just really, like I said, need to get on that offense, and they really need to get in the field, hit that field, and, you know, just plow through, because they took a hit. Scherzer, like, my man, like, he's really missing out. So they got to get in there, and otherwise they'll be going on a trip to Astro World.
Ooh, that would not be a good trip for them. Connor, what do they need to do to turn around in Game 6?
I mean, let's be real. Washington probably shouldn't have been there in the first place. The Dodgers were ranked above them. They didn't even win their division. Atlanta won the division. And for them to make it this far in the World Series, to take 2 games, it's huge for the Nationals, especially losing Bryce Harper. Nobody expected them to be here. And for them to be in the World Series like right now, it is big. They just need to wake up the bats. Juan Soto, Rendon, Zimmerman need to start hitting now if they want to come back and get it to Game 7.
Well, I mean, Soto's still hitting. And
Yeah.
also, wild card teams, come on. My Marlins won 2 World Series from the wild card spot. Don't ever hate on the wild card spot. Taylor, who are you looking to step up for in this Game 6 for the Nationals?
You know, man, it's just they got to get in there. Like, we have Soto. He's been killing it, and I wanna say, like, if you focus too much on him, he's just, like, gonna be seen as carrying the team. You don't want that. But honestly, like, I have a soft spot for them youngins on that team because it can make you feel real uncomfortable. Like, you're like, wow, man, I must suck. Like, I'm 21 and these guys are doing this. So I feel like them youngins, like Soto and all them, they're the guys. They are the men.
Okay, so for the Nationals, if they get to a Game 7 and Scherzer can't pitch, what do they look towards?
I think it's a bullpen game. They need to throw their best guys out. If Steven Strasburg can pitch again, he might pitch an inning or 2 depending on how long he goes in Game 6. It's going to be a bullpen game. Their closers, their relief pitchers are going to get in, probably an inning at a time, just to keep them moving and keep like the batters off balance with new pitchers every now and again.
Now, do you think it helps the Nationals going back to the AL? So now they have an extra bat in the lineup, so now they get the DH. Do you think that helps them, or does it help the Astros more?
You know, I think anything could help the Nationals at this point. I mean, if your logo looks like Walgreens, you need some help. I'm just going to be real with you, but I'm set. Like, you cannot change my mind. I feel like we're going to Astro World, baby. That's all I got to say.
So are we going to go Astros in 6, Astros in 7, Nationals in 7? Where are we leaning, Connor?
I think it's going to go to Game 7, and I'm going to take the Astros. I don't think
Astros?
Washington, like their run of destiny almost, it seems like, it feels like it's over to me. I think the Astros are the better team like throughout the whole season and this year, and I think it'd be really, really cool to see them win at home as well.
Taylor.
Astros are killing it. I think that Washington might have another 15 minutes of fame on there, but I think the Astros are really going to carry like through the rest of the series.
Astros. So one thing I want to touch on too on the Astros, we have Bregman, the man who will probably win the AL MVP. He went grand the other day.
Yep.
Is he the World Series MVP so far?
I think so. Either him or I would say maybe Carlos Correa. I mean, either way, these guys their bats are on fire. They hit so many home runs. I think they have over 3 in the postseason already at least, and I know 2 other guys. Altuve has 5, I think, in the postseason, so he could win it for the MVP. I mean, it's just the Astros. They're a dominant team, and they have a lot of good hitters. So.
Who do you think's been the MVP so far of the World Series for the Astros?
Oh, my man Correa. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is the guy. Like, he's been killing it. He's doing that stuff, man. So keep on keeping on is what I'm saying.
So in Game 6, the Astros are turning the ball to Justin Verlander. He has never won a World Series game. Is that going to change?
No, I think he's going to lose. I think Strasburg got the best of him the first time, and I think he's going to get the best of him again. He's 0-5, first pitcher to ever go 0-5, so Verlander, you're killing it. But yeah, no, I don't think he's going to win. I think there's a mental block for the World Series, and I think Strasburg will take this game.
Taylor.
I kind of agree with that. Like, I can side with you on this one, Connor. You know, I'm going to give it to you. I agree. I just think we got to really, if you for the Nationals, you better be praying. Put on your praying pants because it's going to be, yikes.
It almost brings up the discussion, who's worse in the postseason, Justin Verlander or Clayton Kershaw?
Clayton Kershaw is by far worse. He's never made it to the World Series first. Like, Verlander at least has made it
Well,
there.
yeah, the Dodgers are in the last 2 World Series.
Well, no.
They lost in 7 to the Astros and lost in 5 to the Red
You're
Sox.
right. I forgot. Excuse me. But I don't know. I don't think that the Dodgers have really – like, I've never thought of them as a World Series winning team. Like, even in the past 2 seasons, I know they've had probably, like, really good teams. Bellinger has been amazing. But the Dodgers – I don't know. I don't think Kershaw will ever get that win.
Well, unfortunately, we're talking World Series, and the Dodgers just frankly aren't good enough. Yes, I'm talking to you, Johnny Jackson. Thank you so much, Connor and Taylor, for your World Series chat. You heard what they had to say, and now we want to hear from you. Head to our Twitter at Hitting the Field to answer today's poll. How will the World Series end? Astros in 6, Astros in 7, or Nationals in 7? We'll reveal those answers at the end of the show. When we come back, Tyler Fellerman and Chris Tran join me to break down some NFL action. Stay tuned.
I mean, yeah, they lost the last 2, but third time's a charm, right? That's what I tell myself every night before I cry myself to sleep, right?
Definitely. In my eyes, I know he's pitching game 2, and his postseason ERA is about over 4, and I'm scared.
Because I like losing, apparently. It seems to be the trend. It's Jeter, too. He's just mad because the Yankees lost in the 2003 World Series.
03 World Series?
I think I have a better chance of winning the lottery, actually. Like, I'm probably going to throw it all on red this summer and hope for the best.
100%. And they're better than the Houston Astros. The Trastros?
Honestly, Justin Verlander is the second coming of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He is a god. I would go straight for Kate Upton.
I don't know.
We didn't give him enough. Should have given him $500 million.
Let's go, Yankees. The Yankees will not lose. Let's be clear. Best team in baseball ever.
Welcome back to Hitting the Field. Joining me on the show to talk tomorrow's NFL trade deadline is Tyler Fellerman and Chris Tran. Tyler, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Always love to be here.
Your car got towed, though.
We don't have to talk about this in front of all these people.
Yeah, we do. Chris, how are you doing?
Always great when the Eagles win, right?
You know, it was a great weekend. It
was a great win.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. There have been numerous deals all across the league this season. Jadeveon Clowney was shopped to Seattle. Laramie Tunsil wound up in Houston. And recently, Jalen Ramsey flocked out of Duval County and ended up in Los Angeles. And Emmanuel Sanders got traded out of Orange for the gold with the 49ers. Chris, what is the best trade that a team's made so far?
So far for me, it's Emmanuel Sanders going to the San Francisco 49ers. If you just look at the wide receiver room in San Fran, it's a lot of young guys and no really veteran presence. Adding Emmanuel Sanders adds veteran presence to that locker room, and it makes them from just a really good regular season team, and now they're a Super Bowl contender. And they only gave up, I believe, a 3rd and a 4th round pick. With the addition of E-Man, they're now Super Bowl contenders.
So they weren't, though, before?
I don't think so. I thought they were a little too inexperienced.
All right. Tyler?
I like the Ravens picking up Marcus Peters for only a 5th round pick. I mean, he's the only man that's intercepted Russell Wilson this year.
It was immediate impact.
Yep. Right away, first game, takes it to the house. He's now leading the NFL in pick sixes. So I think only giving up a 5th round pick for Marcus Peters was the best trade.
So do we think Marcus Peters for Jalen Ramsey benefited the Rams, or did they lose, like, with losing Peters? Are they worse now? Are they better with Ramsey? What's the deal with that, Chris?
I mean, Jalen Ramsey is better than Marcus Peters. Sure. Like, I don't think anybody's going to argue that. And so they definitely got better, but they did give up a lot to get him. And that's the only thing that you can look at, just their assets going forward. They gave up a lot. But, I mean, you're a better defense with Jalen Ramsey on your team.
For sure. You're definitely better defensively when you have Jalen Ramsey instead of Marcus Peters. But like he said, it could be just a rental with
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey, and they did give up 2 first-round picks. So
That'll be interesting.
But
at
I
the
do
end of the
think if
season.
you're going to trade for Jalen Ramsey, you know that you're going to pay him.
yep.
I would hope so.
Like,
They gotta-
I don't think it's a rental player at all.
It's just like
if
they
you're
gotta
going to give
tag
up that much, you're
tag
going to pay
and
him.
give him the bag.
Exactly.
All right, well, we move on from the past to the present. Kenyon Drake bid farewell to the Dolphins this morning after being traded to the Arizona Cardinals. In return, Miami will receive a 2020 draft pick. Tyler, grade this trade.
I think it's a B for both teams. I mean, the Dolphins aren't really trying to win. They get rid of their probably best offensive player. That's going to help them get to that 1 pick. And the Cardinals have been very injury-prone in the running back this year. David Johnson's out. Chase Edmonds just went down with an injury. So I think it helps both teams pretty well.
Chris.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at it, the Dolphins they're just in full tank mode. And if you're going to embrace the tank, you're just going to get rid of your star players. And Kenyon Drake was somebody who you could get value from this year, and it was worth a shot to trade him. You just kind of had to. He's not in their long-term future, so you could pretty much just take what you can get for him at this point.
So is he kind of like a Jay Ajayi kind of thing, like just like a 1-year rental, and
Definitely.
then so he's gone? So what do we see? Is Kenyon Drake going to help this team in that very competitive West make a run at anything?
Not this year. I think he was just added for the depth. I mean, you're always going to have David Johnson ahead of him if he's healthy. Even Chase Edmonds I'd put ahead of Kenyon Drake right now if he's healthy. It's just to add to the depth and the injuries of the team.
Chris, do you think like they make a run now, or are they still? Cause,
No,
that's
I
a
mean-
stacked West.
It is a stacked West, and the Arizona Cardinals are not ready to compete this year. So to be honest with you, trading for Kenyon Drake, I didn't think make a ton of sense, but you didn't give up much for him, and he's going to be a good playmaker on that team, especially with David Johnson and Chase Edmonds going down with injuries.
All right, well, you heard it here. Decent trade for both teams. Another player possibly on the move is Jets wide receiver Robbie Anderson. New York is out of the playoff contention, and Anderson could be the missing piece for an offense looking to make some noise in the postseason. Chris, where do we think Robbie Anderson's next home is?
For me, I think the Indianapolis Colts need to go out and get a receiver. They have a good number 1 in T.Y. Hilton, but they don't really have that number 2 go-to guy. I think adding Robbie Anderson, again, just gives that team, similar to the San Francisco 49ers, that next level, just being a contender for the Super Bowl. Having a second option is huge because when the defense just starts to double team T.Y. Hilton, it's like, where do you go with the ball next?
I mean, their only option is what, Eric Ebron?
Exactly,
That's
Ebron at tight
about
end,
it.
and they don't really have a number 2 wide receiver.
No, I would agree with that. Tyler, where are we going?
I like Robbie Anderson going to the Eagles.
Okay.
I think they went out and got Deshaun Jackson this year, who goes down with an injury, and they need that deep ball threat that he added to the team. So I think adding Robbie Anderson to the Eagles' already very good offense is just going to take him to that next level, in which he could get more points for their defense. Kind of evens out their bad defense.
That would help a
with their
shaky
good
offense right now. I mean, but
Plus, Nelson Aguilar is not really catching the ball.
no, he's
And
not.
anyone we can get to get Nelson Aguilar off the field, that works with me.
Bring
works
back
for
Golden
me.
Tate.
It's something. We need to do
All right.
something.
Well, the Lions shook up their secondary last week by trading safety Quandre Diggs to the Seahawks. And it's possible that their job is not done. All-pro cornerback Darius Slay is the subject of the trade rumors and could be the biggest name deal before the 4 p.m. deadline tomorrow. Tyler, what team should call the Lions?
If I am the Kansas City Chiefs, I am calling the Lions. I think they need a lot of help on that defensive side, but I really don't see Slay getting moved. I think the Diggs trade and the feedback that the Lions got from that is kind of going to make
Especially
them,
from Slay himself.
I think it's going to make them a little scared to pull the trigger on another trade. But if I'm the Chiefs, I'm giving the Lions a call.
All right, where's Big Play Slay going to end up?
For me, this is where I want my Eagles to step in. The secondary is, I mean, it's no secret it's the weakest spot on the team, and we need a cornerback. Darius Slay, for me, is one of the top man-to-man corners in the league. And I think at this point, you can get him on a discount because in the final year of his deal. And then if we get Darius Slay, we can lock him up long-term, and he'll be the focal point of our secondary. He's someone who you can put out on an island with anybody, and I'll be confident with him going up any team's best wide receiver.
Confident in him going up with any top wide receiver. Are we talking about any wide receiver in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean,
can
I
match
think
up
as
with
far as a
Julio.
one-on-one, like
He's very
man,
underrated.
Yeah, I think as far as a man-to-man corner, he can match up with any receiver in the league.
So who do we say the best receiver is in the league right now, and who could Slay match up with? Who would be the
Best receiver
scariest?
in the league right now, I think, is easily Michael Thomas.
Okay, so Michael Thomas, Darius Slay, who comes out on top in that matchup?
It's hard not to say Michael Thomas comes out, but Slay is still going to put up a better fight than most corners in the NFL when it comes to that.
Do we think Slay's like a top 3 corner right now?
Top 3, I don't know, but top 5. If you're looking at purely man-to-man, though, I would say a top 3 corner. You put him out on an island with any receiver, and he's going to be able to keep up. I mean, it's impossible to guard the Michael Thomases of the league. They're just going to get theirs.
Another guy that's been talked about a lot is Chris Harris Jr. for the Broncos. Tyler, where is he on the move?
I mean, like you said, if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm looking at both these guys. The Broncos are obviously not doing much this year. The Lions have decided they want to get rid of all their players. So if I'm the Eagles, I'm calling for both these guys. Definitely the best.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, if it's either the Eagles or the Chiefs, they both need help in the secondary. And between Chris Harris and Darius Slay, I think if they both get dealt, one of them's going to Philly and the other one's going to the Chiefs.
Now, this might be something weird for me to say, but someone who I think could low-key be on the trade block, whether it's right now or in the offseason, is Zach Ertz. Do you see Zach Ertz in another uniform anytime soon?
I would love to see him in a Seahawks uniform. I mean, they're very weak right now in the tight end position, but if I'm the Eagles, I'm keeping on to that. That's a talent and a half right there.
So, Chris, though, we've seen Dallas Goedert, a little fumbles here and there, but, I mean, Zach Ertz, his production's dropped off heavily this year. Do you think he almost wants out of Philly, or we could get, like, a first-round pick or something?
I don't think Ertz necessarily wants out of Philly, but I do think you drafted Dallas Goedert for a reason, and you didn't draft him as early as you did for him to just be a backup his whole career. And I think as much as Ertz is a fan favorite and he's a focal point of our offense, he has taken a step back this year. And if you can get a first-round pick for Zach Ertz, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles move off him at all.
So I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, it was almost rumored that they took Dallas Goedert just so the Cowboys couldn't get him.
But what about a two tight end system? I feel like that would work really well in Philly.
I mean, the offense could use a lot of shakeups, but the Eagles have been known to use running backs out of the backfield more often, so they go 3 wide running back tight end. What do we think, though, about the Patriots-Sanu trade?
I think, honestly, that the Falcons got a really good deal. I don't know in what world Sanu's worth a second-round pick. I know it's going to be a late 2 just because the Patriots are so good, so it's just going to be a late 2. But a second-round pick for Sanu is incredible. I mean, if you look, a first for Amari Cooper and only 1 round back was Mohamed Sanu. Like, I think it's a totally different. And I would rather take Emmanuel Sanders over Mohamed Sanu too. And he only went for a 3 and a 4.
Tyler, what do you think of that trade?
I think the Patriots definitely overpaid. I mean, this is gonna be the new future quarterback of the Patriots.
Highest passer rating, that is true.
But I think they've been looking for a receiver ever since they lost Antonio Brown. They go out and get the guy who's very productive for the Falcons. He's the 3rd guy you'd think on the roster, but maybe the number 2 when it comes to Matt Ryan's favorite target. So I think it's pretty much a good trade for all.
Well, we've gone over some possible trade scenarios, but now it's time for you guys to bring your own takes to the table. Chris, give me your boldest trade deadline prediction.
So I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would love to see the Buffalo Bills go out and get Melvin Gordon. They're a 5-2 football team with a great defense, and Josh Allen isn't someone who you want to rely on. If you can go out and get Melvin Gordon, I think that it really boosts their playoff chances. I think they're gonna lock in that first wild card spot, and their running game, you're going back between a 50-year-old Frank Gore or a rookie. If you bring in Melvin Gordon, that's a serious contender in the AFC.
Tyler.
I would like to see a guy who just lost his starting job in Tennessee, Marcus Mariota, get traded to the Bears. I think that offense needs a little shakeup in it. They started 3-1. They are now 3-4. Everyone knows Trubisky is not that deep ball threat. He's going to stick to the offensive game plan. I think you need a guy who's more mobile than him, been in the league longer, and I think Mariota is that guy.
So you're going to value Marcus Mariota over Mitchell Trubisky?
At this point, yes, I think so.
If it was my team, I wouldn't want either of them.
If you had to pick one, who are you taking? I'm taking Mitch all day.
I probably will take Mitch, just because I think at this point there's some potential going on with Mitch. You know what you're getting with Mariota.
Mitch, they could have been playing the Rams to possibly go to the NFC Championship last year if they make a field goal.
And now they're 3-4.
But whose fault is that? Is that because they got rid of Jordan Howard?
No, it's the offense's fault. Mitch Trubisky hasn't made any progress at all in his NFL career. He's doing the same things that we saw him do the first year. I think Mariota needs a new start somewhere else in a different offense, and I think the Bears need a new quarterback to run that offense.
I mean, the Bears won yesterday, too, if they make a field goal.
Yeah, well, I mean, also, a lot of people are blaming the kicker for missing that field goal. If you're an offense and you score 1 touchdown on the day,
I mean, Mitch
that comes down.
Mitch did turn it over.
That comes down to the quarterback. That comes down to the offense.
So I want to talk about, the Ryan Tannehill, Marcus Mariota situation. Did the Titans come out? Like, are they happy with Ryan Tannehill?
I think that's exactly why they got him. They knew Mariota might struggle, and they knew they needed a backup and a young backup. And I think Tannehill is doing very good for them.
Yeah, I mean, Tannehill's going to be a starter in this league. He is a top 32 quarterback in the NFL, and that makes you a starter. When they got him, it was only a matter of time before he was going to take over for Mariota. I think Mariota is the one that might be moving into a backup role even after this year.
Now, one last bold trade prediction: Odell ends up in another uniform.
That'd be crazy. I don't know. Who do you think takes him?
The only team I think would take him would be the Eagles, or this would sound surprising, the Ravens.
I don't see the Browns pulling the trigger too fast on this whole project that they're trying to set up, though.
Yeah, I think if anything, the Browns are going to go for getting a new coach and getting a system in there that they can just work. And because Odell is still a top 5 talent.
So it's not panic time in
I don't
Cleveland.
Well, it is panic time for the coach, not for Odell or anyone else.
So he has no free pass this season? No free pass for being terrible?
I don't think so.
He was there last year.
Yeah.
He ran the offense last year, and where's that this year?
I don't know.
With Odell.
It's turning the ball over on 3 straight plays.
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah, I mean, if you see Baker's regressed in every single game since the start of last year, and at a point it goes from the coach, but also as a quarterback, you need to make plays.
All right. Well, thank you guys for your trade deadline talk. Several NFL teams will be frantically on the phones until tomorrow's 4 p.m. deadline, and it will be exciting to see how it shakes up. When we come back, Chris and Tyler will give out some imaginary hardware in our NFL midseason awards segment. Stick with us.
Hi, I'm Dave Jeffrey, attorney at law. Has your favorite team ever left you feeling sad, disappointed, or even a little angry? Don't you feel like you should be compensated for it? Just take a look at these real testimonials from my real clients. After Tyrod Taylor led the Bills to the playoffs for the first time in 17 years, I was the happiest I'd ever been. And then the Bills traded him, and I wanted to die. But thanks to Dave, I found my will to live again. Yo, Kevin Durant's a bitch. When he said his mom was the MVP, I was so pissed. He put up 30 a game, not her. Same time, I knew my boy Davey would be able to get me some quick cash. Thanks, Dave Jeffrey. I've helped millions of people, and chances are I might be able to help you too.
I hate David Jeffries. My whole family died in a car crash, but he gave all my money away to a Saints fan because of some blown pass interference call. Thanks, Dav.
Aren't you mad when KD went to the Warriors?
Nah, that's pretty chill. Give me a call at 888-888-888, crying emoji, and I can fix your sports misery too.
Please call the number on your screen today if you are experiencing any grief, sadness, or even if another fan has hurt your feelings. All you have to do is provide your credit card number, the 3 silly digits on the back, and the expiration month and year. This is not a scam. Doop-de-doop.
Welcome back to HTF. I'm still with Tyler Fellerman and Chris Tran to hand out some midseason NFL awards. We'll start on the defensive side of the ball with the Defensive Player of the Year. Aaron Donald took it home last year and is making a run at a repeat. Myles Garrett is also making a run with 9 sacks, and Chandler Jones is putting on a career year in Arizona. Chris, who do you have?
For me, it's Devin McCourty of the New England Patriots. If you just look at So this is the best defense in the NFL by far, and he's the best player on that defense. He has 5 takeaways already, 5 interceptions, and has a fumble recovery. This defense is running off turnovers, and McCourty's making a ton of plays. I think it's not often that you see a safety win, or a safety or a corner, any defensive back win Defensive Player of the Year. It's normally who has the most sacks, who's got a lot of tackles, a linebacker. But McCourty's been so impressive this year, I don't see how he doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year.
Tyler?
I think it's a different guy on the New England Patriots. I think Jamie Collins is actually the best defensive player on that team. He's leading the league, leading that team in tackles. He's leading the team in sacks. He's leading the team in tackles for a loss. He's got 3 interceptions, which is only 2 less than McCourty, and he's got a fumble recovery, 2 forced fumbles. I think Jamie Collins is easily the best defender on that team and in the league.
Yeah, but if you go look at it, like, you're putting McCourty on their best player, and you're just saying lock him down, and they've been doing it all season. And if McCourty is the person who you're looking to, he's stopping everybody in his tracks. He's picking off people left and right, and he's been on fire.
Jamie Collins is technically stopping people in his tracks, though, because he's leading the team in tackles.
Yeah, but
the cornerstone of that defense is going to be one of your linebackers, and I think Jamie Collins is easily the biggest.
Yeah, as a linebacker, you are going to just get plays fed to you because you're just in the middle of the play. But McCourty's there picking people off left and right. I think he's someone who you look at, you put him in the secondary, and he's just going for people.
A lot of McCourty's interceptions have come off tips, though. I mean, Jamie Collins is a linebacker with 3 interceptions. You got to give him some credit for that.
Getting tips is still being in the right place at the right time. As far as a cover corner, nobody looked at McCourty as being one of the best, one of the lockdown defensive guys, and he's stepped up big time this year. Interceptions left and right.
I'll be fair here, but can anyone on the Patriots win Defensive Player of the Year when you look at who they've played offensively?
I think you can. Sure. I mean, it's a stat-based award, and if you look at it, you're creating turnovers left and right. I don't think there's any way a Patriots player doesn't win it at this point.
Tyler?
Yeah, I think you have to go with a Patriots player. Just because they're going against these teams doesn't mean that you don't underperform against these teams. They're doing exactly what we think they're going to do, and
just getting the job done. Like to hear that. All right. This year's rookie class has certainly lived up to its expectations. Kyler Murray and Gardner Minshew are making strong cases at QB, and on the defensive side, Nick Bosa and Quinnen Williams are proving why they were top 3 picks in the draft. Chris, who's been the best rookie so far?
There's been a lot of surprising rookies this year, but by far it's Minshew. Gardner Minshew came out of nowhere. Minshew Mania, I've bought all the way into it. 13 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He's a 6th-round pick. He wasn't even supposed to play. He was supposed to be a lifetime backup when he gets in the league. I don't think Nick Foles gets his job back. Gardner Minshew's been on fire. He's 4-3 as a starter, and I think this award, you got to win games to get Rookie of the Year. And as a quarterback, that's your job. You got to go out and win games. 13 touchdowns, I think Minshew's running away with it.
So let me just backtrack. You said Foles never gets his job back, which means $88 million sits on the bench for 4 years, which means that is a terrible return on investment. I'm not like a finance major, but that is absolutely terrible. So you think it's Minshew's job?
Well, you can't go back and change what you offered Foles. You didn't expect Minshew to be this good, but he is this good. And you have a potential out after 2 years with Nick Foles. And I don't think Minshew's done absolutely nothing to lose this job. And I don't think Foles is someone where it's a different situation with like the Saints and Drew Brees and Teddy. Drew Brees was always going to come back. But as far as Minshew, like you're not going to sit Minshew for Foles.
But Foles made one throw, got hit, and still delivered a dime. You can say Foles looked better in his one throw of the year than Minshew has all season.
I don't think you can. It's one throw. That doesn't get you playing time back from 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
All right, Tyler, who's been your best rookie?
I like Josh Jacobs on the Raiders. I've said this for a while. When you look at his rushing stats, he's actually producing better than what Saquon did last year, running the ball wise. And you brought up that you need to win games to win Rookie of the Year. The last 2 Rookie of the Years have been Alvin Kamara and Saquon. I mean, Kamara got wins, but that's because he's on the Saints, and Saquon isn't really winning games with the Giants. And I'm going to take Josh Jacobs because the last 2 Rookie of the Years in the NFL have been running backs. I think it's just going to ride that wave. He's on pace to have more rushing yards than Saquon did last year, and he's averaging 5 yards a carry, which is ridiculous for a rookie.
You could say he's filling the shoes that AB was allegedly going to fill, but, I mean, is Josh Jacobs the best player on this Oakland offense?
No. I mean, this offense runs through Derek Carr, and he's stepped up big time this year. You look at just Tyrell Williams has been a huge weapon on that team. Derek Carr has been much better this year. Jacobs is a nice compliment, but he's not the reason why this offense is humming. If you look at the Jags, DJ Chark has come out of nowhere this year. D.D. Westbrook has come out of nowhere this year. And it's not from a huge caliber quarterback. It's from Minshew coming out of nowhere and just performing lights out.
So real quick, what do we think of Nick Bosa? He had 3 sacks yesterday. It's the first time he does that since his high school days at St. Thomas. What do you think of Nick Bosa?
Got to bring up that St. Thomas.
I had to rep my school.
I think Nick Bosa is the clear front runner right now for rookie defensive player of the year, just because of the San Francisco hasn't lost. He's leading rookies in sacks, but I would look out for Josh Allen.
Okay.
I mean, he's pretty much putting up the same stats. He's just not getting as much hype because Gardner Minshew's on that team, getting him some victories, but Nick Bosa is definitely
Nick Bosa, good or bad?
It's Nick Bosa. I don't think it's a question. I mean, it's unanimous for me. Bosa, being at the top of that defense, and a defense that's been stopping every offense in their tracks, Nick Bosa's leading the way. 7 sacks already as a rookie.
He's
unbelievable.
He's matching his brother's stats already.
I know, and you thought that was hard to do because Joe Bosa came and took the league by storm.
I've been saying since high school Nick Bosa was better, and I want all the credit when he has a better career. The next award we have is the Coach of the Year honors. Bill Belichick and Kyle Shanahan are nominees for their undefeated starts, but Matt LaFleur and Sean Payton have strong cases with 1-loss teams. Tyler, who's been the Coach of the Year?
I got to go with Sean Payton. I mean, when you think of Coach of the Year, you have to think of the adversity that they went through.
Okay.
You lose Drew Brees. Yep. You go 5-0. He comes back, and you don't even have Kamara, but they win that game anyway. They're off to a better start than I think anyone would imagine, with Teddy Bridgewater starting most of their games and Kamara out with an injury right now.
Yep. Well, if you listen to our podcast, which is live on Wednesdays or on YouTube, you would hear John Whitley said they would go 0-5 with Bridgewater. I said they'd go 5-0. I was right. He was wrong. Who's been the Coach of the Year this year?
For me, it's Kyle Shanahan. And for me, I'm not looking at Sean Payton because look at the roster that you have. You have the best wide receiver in the NFL. You have a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. He was hurt, but he's back now. And your backup as Teddy Bridgewater is a starting caliber quarterback. He started in Minnesota before he got hurt. And you have a top 3 running back. I don't think as far as a coach goes, the talent's there. He doesn't need to do much. Drew Brees is going to run that offense, and then when he's not there, Michael Thomas is an easy target to throw to. For me, it's Kyle Shanahan because the roster doesn't have the star-studded roster that the Saints does. I think you're looking at Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan is shaping him. Look at the running back room, Tevin Coleman and Matt Breida. They're not cornerstone running backs. but Shanahan's been like molding them, and everything's been working together, and that defense has been
I
insane.
think they had the talent. I just don't think they had the leadership yet, which I think they'll
That
develop.
comes from
They've
the
only
coach.
faced 2 teams above 500 on this spectacular run
They
that
are
they've gone
frauds.
through. And I think Teddy Bridgewater started for the Vikings, 5 years ago? I mean, I wouldn't really call him a dominant starter now, and it's really the defense that's stepped up, which is why I think it's even more Sean Payton's award to lose, because when you think of Sean Payton, you think of him and Drew Brees and the offense that he's created.
And Bountygate.
And, well, that. But this is the good part of the defense, where they're actually stepping up, stopping teams, and that's what's winning them games.
Yeah, I don't know. With the talent on that roster, you also look at Lattimore as a corner. He's a lockdown corner. He's been shutting people down all year. A lot of it's just the talent on that roster coming together. I don't think Sean Payton has that hard of a job to do. If you look at San Fran, it's a young team that doesn't, like you said, doesn't have the leadership. Shanahan's the one that has to bring that leadership and set the standard in San Francisco. They haven't been good in a long time.
That is
so
true.
they needed a new culture, and Shanahan's what's bringing that together.
All right, well, we'll end with the most prestigious award, the MVP award. Pat Mahomes was the early season favorite, but his injury has put his campaign for MVP in question. Christian McCaffrey's making a huge statement with the Panthers, while Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are also major contenders. Tyler Rise, why is Russell the MVP?
I mean, why is he not? He's leading the league in touchdown throws. He's got 17 touchdown passes, 20 total this year with 3 rushing. He's got the best quarterback rating in the league. He has 1 interception, 1 pick this year at home.
It was also a touchdown.
But he hasn't done anything to not be the MVP this year. It's just been consistent play all year. He throws the ball 20 times last game, completes 14 of them, 2 touchdowns. He's so consistent.
So you don't think his 2015 Super Bowl pick has anything to do with this MVP season?
What? Sir?
Exactly. That's what I thought. Chris, who's been the MVP?
For me, it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if you just look at the transformation, he finally got rid of Mike McCarthy, and now he's got a new coach in Matt LaFleur, and that offense has been lights out since the start of the year. Aaron Rodgers finally isn't having to depend on just himself. He has more of a supporting cast with Aaron Jones, and that's allowed him to be a much better quarterback this year. I think you're looking at 16 touchdowns and 2 picks. It's 1 off of Wilson, but if you look at Wilson, he's not asked to do as much as Rodgers is. Wilson, like you said, he threw the ball 20 times. The game they lost, he completed less than 50% of his balls. You're going to run the Seahawks offense through Chris Carson running the football. That's the only reason why I don't think Russell Wilson gets the award, is because it's a run-first football team.
Now, we want to look at the wide receiver core for the 2 teams. You have the Seahawks, who are healthy with Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and then you look at the Packers, who have Devontae Adams has played 3 games this season.
Adams is hurt. You're looking at Rodgers with Geronimo Allison and just random people off the bench. Rodgers making plays with whoever's out there. It doesn't matter who he's throwing to. He's finding people open and making plays left and right.
But does it matter?
Are we just going to act like Aaron Jones isn't a person out here? I mean, most of his throws are to Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, and you can't say Chris Carson is the leader of the Seahawks when Aaron Rodgers is MVP, or the MVP on the Packers is Aaron Jones. Aaron Rodgers isn't even the best player on his team, and the reason they won games early in the year was because the defense. Aaron Rodgers had a terrible start to the year. He's only had 2 good games.
He has 2,400 yards and 16 touchdowns.
Based on the last 2 games that he's had.
He threw 2,000 yards in the last 2 games. If you look at even the game that he lost against the Eagles, the first half he torched the Eagles.
But it's the Eagles. Who cares? Who cares if he torched the
Packers
Eagles?
have played 1 bad half of football, and Aaron Rodgers played 1 bad half of football.
The reason that they're at where they're at is because the defense stepped up this year, and Aaron Jones out of the backfield is a freak of nature.
In the beginning of the year, they relied on their defense, and since week 2, Aaron Rodgers has been on fire. They have 16 touchdowns and 2,400 yards. That's more yards than Russell Wilson has. And if you look at Aaron Jones, he's working a lot of his, he's been a great running back this year also, but he's improved pass catching as well. And I think it gives another option to Rodgers, who has no receivers on his team to throw to. He has no options, and he's still making plays with anybody.
Christian McCaffrey numbers right now.
Yeah, and
so Aaron Rodgers isn't even the best player on his team right now.
It could go both ways. You want to know what the beauty of this is? There's still 8+ games to go, and anything can happen. Thank you, Chris and Tyler, for your insight. When we come back, we'll reveal the results for the World Series poll, and I'll deliver the rant. Stay tuned. This man just said Aaron Rodgers wasn't.
I'm in charge of the meeting this week. So you know what we're going to talk about?
You're good.
Aaron Rodgers was the best
Second
player.
thing we're going to talk about this week is basketball. Okay? And the third and last thing we're going to talk about is basketball.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I want to quit. Take that.
screen.
What are we talking about this week?
Basketball.
Yo, guys, I can't even imagine what it's like to be a Saints fan right now.
Dude,
I'd be so
guys, mad. I can't believe that ridiculous no call.
Bro, I'm puzzled. If they would have made that call, who do you think would have been in the Super Bowl? The Saints would have been in the Super Bowl. Come on now.
The refs, they need to be punished.
Oh, hey guys. Did you see my missed call last week? Could have sent that team to the championship. I guess not.
I can't take this anymore.
What's up with this guy?
Welcome back to HTF. We have the results to our Twitter poll. The fans have spoken, and they say that the Astros are going to wrap this up in 6. Well, as always, it's time to go off script and deliver a rant. Today, I'm going to dive into the NBA. I don't know why we're sleeping on the Warriors. If the Warriors had Klay Thompson, they would not be this atrocious. We're literally only 2 games into the season, and we're saying the Warriors dynasty is over. I think we fail to forget that those core 3 in Klay, Steph, and Draymond took down teams of LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love. It's not impossible. They took down KD and Westbrook. I don't understand what all the hate is here. I also want to jump into the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving is tearing it up. But let me tell you, it doesn't matter that he's tearing it up because that team is still the Brooklyn Nets. They are terrible. They will not be good this year because they don't have Kevin Durant. They don't have that second option. Ja Morant is out here stuffing Kyrie Irving when the game is on the line. He's driving to the hoop and making big plays. He's my early pick for Rookie of the Year. He's looked fantastic early in the season. And honestly, the Grizzlies they might not even be in rebuild mode this year. They might be looking at a playoff run this year. Let's jump over to the other conference, the West. The Clippers. They've looked pretty good. Yeah, I know they lost earlier in this week, but let's be real. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Kawhi Leonard, we already know, is going to turn up in the playoffs. Paul George will probably make this team a lot better. The other LA team, the LA Lakers. I mean, AD and LeBron are figuring it out, and honestly, that's not going to matter till game 82. They'll make the postseason, and LeBron hot in the postseason is a scary LeBron. Let's be real. When have we ever gone, oh, LeBron's in the postseason, they're screwed? Never. In the last times he's made the postseason, he's made it to the finals. Last year, he didn't get there because he was hurt. And let's jump in to D'Angelo Russell getting tossed yesterday. It just fits in well. Fits in great. Him and Draymond are going to be best buds in that locker room after they both get tossed for doing stupid things. And let's shout out quickly from work, my man Steve Gorches. I'm helping him with his fantasy team this year. We're looking good so far. You know, Bradley Beal's looked nice. And we're just waiting to see how the rest of the season unfolds. And honestly, it's going to be an exciting NBA season. It's just getting started. Thank you to Chris, Tyler, Connor, and Taylor for appearing on the show today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube page. And follow us on all our socials at Hitting the Field. Might I add, and the HTF podcast are coming on Wednesday this week. And we'll be back next week for another episode. I gotta say, this was another great episode. I'm so excited for everything we have left in the future. We're coming up to a wrap on this season, but the things that you're gonna see the rest of the season will be absolutely amazing, and I'm so excited for the future that we have here. Thank you once again for everyone tuning into this episode. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes that helps me look as great as I do and makes our talent look absolutely amazing. We'll see you next week on Hitting the Field.
When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax.